So you hate long pauses? Duly noted.
It's just not good for audio form.
I gotcha. So when you guys were putting this together, did you think about streaming it live?
No, really. But yeah, people do ask us that from time to time. I do post to like everywhere that you can think of. It's just we just don't stream it live.
It's everywhere you want to be and more. Let's go.
Let's go. Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to episode 25 of the Guardian Hub podcast, where we talk Destiny and our experiences in the game. We like to spotlight different guests and communities and are a place to talk about uplifting experiences that we have had. This is Kingsley, Mac, and Sin. How you doing tonight, Sin?
Magical. How are you?
I am great. Great as always. It's good to be on here. And I don't know if anyone noticed, I mentioned episode 25 this week. I decided to put the number in there because we've been doing this for, I guess, a small minute. Can you believe it's been 25 episodes?
I really can't believe it's been 25. I've been pulling my hair. I've been pulling my hair out for 25 weeks doing podcasts
and everything.
No, but it's great. It's great we made it this far. We've had a lot of support. So we definitely appreciate all of that.
Yeah. And this podcast is always interesting because so many different weeks we have wonderful, great guests, so many fun people to talk to. And this week we have Mr. PoopShizzle. How you doing, man?
I don't know. You guys are churching it up pretty hardcore. I can't live up to these standards. You're scraping the barrel with this guest.
What? We are going to have a fun time tonight. We're glad to have you on, man.
Yeah, we bring the hype train all the time. Let's go.
Super stoked to be here, guys. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. Boy, you've been in the Destiny community for a while, and I know that you like to stream on Twitch, and you have you do some podcasting stuff. Let's start with your Twitch. Tell us kind of like how that started for you and where you wanted to take it, and if you have any goals with it going forward.
Well, as of lately, I haven't been super committed to it. Life has been kind of kicking me around a little bit, but in a good way, just busy. Yeah. But when I first started, it was just after Destiny had launched and the Twitch scene started picking up. The thing that I wanted to do was Destiny 1. Sorry. Okay, cool. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, way back there, 2014. And I just did like my first VOG clear. And I was super pumped because I love collaborative cooperation work. And I wanted to be like the Raid Sherpa guy on Twitch. I hadn't seen too many people doing it. And so I wanted to try to jump in there. And I went to Best Buy. I stood in front of a $600 laptop for about an hour and a half trying to justify picking it up. And just brought it home about an hour and a half later and figured out OBS. At that time, it was not very friendly, not as friendly as it is now. And just started grinding it out, found that I had really crappy internet and couldn't support it, and just kind of piecemealed it together as best as I could. Give or take about 3 years. That's kind of where I'm at now. I've done a couple charity streams. I've done some different games as well, other than Destiny, but it's always been my main bread and butter. I love a community. I love talking to people. I'm a very social person, so I like hanging out and just chatting with people, and the fact that I could do it from the comfort of my own gaming center is just what the most appealing thing is for me with streaming. But like I said, I need to get back into it, but I do love streaming. It's a lot of fun. Yeah,
no, that's good. And that's pretty cool that you started it a little bit earlier than a lot of people. You say you like interacting with people and kind of that social aspect. Has it been fun? Have you had ups and downs like some people? Like, what do you like to do when you stream? And do you ever feel pressured to do other things when you stream?
Like I said, the social element is the biggest thrill for me. I'm a musician by trade, and so entertainment is always something that's kind of been an appealing factor for me. So anytime I can get and kind of act a fool in front of people, I'm down for it. As for some highlights, I think last November I worked with the Extra Life streaming. There's a 24-hour stream event. And by the end of that night or that 24-hour sequence, I had raised about $1,700. That was probably the biggest highlight of my streaming quote unquote career. And just to know that I had a community rally behind me and provide the funds to help one of my area or local hospitals in the Children's Miracle Network system was very humbling and very moving. And it was a very eye-opening experience all in all. And it was one of the things that I was amazed that something could happen. And I didn't even come in contact with these people face to face. Like, this was all generosity from people out there in the ones and zeros land. And it was just a unique perspective and experience. So that was probably the highlight. And then I've had some milestones along the way, 300 followers and just a couple things here and there. But ultimately, I stream because it's fun and I like to hang out with people.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's what I found I like the most when I do stream. Like you said earlier, you've been super busy. My life is super hectic. I got so much going on. Typically, when I find time to stream, it's typically Saturday nights are my time where I edit the week before podcast, try to get it out for the next day, or sometimes it'll carry over into Sunday like it has this time. But I'll edit and then I plan either raids or doing whatever I need to do in the game. But then I can stream it, and that seems to be what's been the most fun for me, because Saturday nights I've gotten a lot of response. Typically I get a few people that come out, they'll hang out and chat for a little while. Where before, when I was trying it out and just trying to get started in it, I found that doing it out throughout the week and doing it 3, 4, 5 days a week, I just wasn't getting a lot of response out of it. And really, for me, Saturdays have been the most fun doing streaming. Even though it's only once a week, I found it been great. So community part of it's awesome.
I think another component of it that I really enjoy, next to the community, obviously, is the learning process and the different challenges and hurdles you have to overcome with regards to streaming. If anyone just thinks it's plug and play, they're an idiot. It's not that easy, no matter what you're streaming from or how you're streaming. One of the things that I've been very proud of my channel is everything that is on that channel I have built with my own 2 hands or my mouse and keyboard. With the exception of my emotes. I did use Young Khan, incredible artist. And basically the software that I've had to learn, the interactions between, my OBS and Streamlabs and the chat bot, which used to be AnkBot. And just all those things. I've learned a little bit of coding. I've learned a little bit of Java. It's just to try to get what I want out of it. I think that has made it more meaningful for me. It was just to, elbows up and get to work and figure it out. That's fun for me.
Roll your sleeves up and just get it done. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being someone who started it earlier on too, that makes a lot of sense. You kind of want to put more into it than these days where someone does think you can just start up, and it really shows. I mean, you have good audio quality. I love your icon. Did he create that, or did you create
No.
that?
I made that. Awesome. My wife is a photographer, and so she has a creative suite, Adobe Creative Cloud. Oh, yeah. So I have access to like the full Adobe suite, and I bought a lot of YouTube and a little bit of what's that, Udemy, that online academy. I got a couple classes in that with some basic Photoshop and Illustrator, and I just like I said, I'd lay in bed at night until like midnight watching videos on how to do stuff.
Oh yeah. My wife's a graphic designer, so I appreciate all that, and she's learned a lot just on her own too, because she started that trade later in life. But yeah, your icon's fun, and I do want to ask your gamer tag, your personality, your Twitch name. Is there any special meaning to that, or is it just kind of a fun thing you came up with, or is there any fun stories you want to tell us about?
Well, it was a cold November in college years. No, basically when I was in college, a couple buddies and I was in college at the height of the Snoop Dogg lexicon. Okay. So everybody was putting izzles and shizzles and manizzles after everything.
Yeah.
And so a couple beers and bottles of whatever liquids courage we were drinking, and just playing some old school Halo. We were just laughing at different words, and PoopShizzle came out, and the next day I signed up for Xbox Live, and I was still fresh in the mind. It still passed all the checks, and I guess of what's appropriate. And I think I'm like going 15, 16 years on Xbox Live with PoopShizzle. So
that's great.
That's awesome. Yeah. I don't think
I'm always going to think of Snoop Dogg now.
Yeah, that's going to be the forefront of my mind as well.
I've gotten some unique responses. Like I remember one, it was way back, Halo 2. Some one redneck dude, PoopShizzle, what is that? just some weird responses. So.
I don't know what a shizzle is.
It makes a lot of people laugh, especially if you join like LFG groups. I've gotten a lot of, can I just call you Shizzle? I can't handle the poop.
Well, I wonder, if anyone ever gets like super turned off by it, but like, yeah. No, I think it's a hilarious. It's great. It's a
barrier for entry with my personality. If you can't get past my name, then I guess you're just not destined to game together.
There you go. Yeah.
Truth. That is truth.
For sure. I want to talk a little bit too more about your musician background and what that means. Like, what type of musician are you? What do you like to do?
Well, basically, I guess you could call me a classically trained musician. So long story short, divorced parents, stepdad came in and he owned a music store, and he started teaching me piano at the age of 5, and basically just stuck with it all the way. I started teaching my own lessons in high school. I didn't want to be a piano player in the band or whatever. So I picked up trumpet, took it all the way to state, paid for college with that. Was a music major, going through music education major, graduated and started teaching. And I actually taught for 13 years until my kick-ass wife and her business mind allowed me to retire early. That's right, boys. I have a sugar mama. And basically, I'm now a part-time road rep for the area music store. I kind of visit the schools and make sure the directors have what they need, stuff like that. And I also co-direct the Texas A&M Aggie basketball and volleyball band. So just kind of help out with that. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I did some music stuff back in the day, just with band in high school, and a little bit of like jazz stuff. And then my wife, she's actually a classically trained musician. She's a professional violist. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. And she does music gigs on the side here and there. So yeah, I appreciate musicians and music background. And I think there's a lot you can learn from having music in your life. And I think it really gives you a big picture mentality, so you can see how things tie together, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I don't know if you have enough space in this podcast. I might have to shoot off another one when it comes to the positive nature of music and education. But music is one of those things that, especially in today's society, you're going to get me on a soapbox, but I promise I'll be brief.
Oh, it's great.
There are fewer and fewer things in life that throws the carrot further. For instance, if you are good at music, then play this song because it's harder. And then if you get better at music for playing that song, play this song. It's harder. Whereas if you look at the education society we have, especially in America, if you can't do this test, well, then let's dumb it down to this version of test. Or let's take it down to this notch just because it seems to be struggling. And now I say dumbing down. I don't mean to say that kids are getting dumber. I'm just saying that I think there's a point where we get too accommodating, that we don't push and we don't strive for better. We just strive for mediocre or just hitting the bar. And there's fewer things out there like music that constantly push you to be better at the craft you're pursuing. There's never a peak that you hit. You can always climb. And the journey to that and through that climb is what makes it even more endearing and rewarding of an experience.
I agree. Very true words. Yeah, no, it's good. And having those goals is something that you can look forward to in your life. My son, I have him in just the main thing he's interested in is percussion, but hey, that's great.
Sure.
And he's in the bands in the school, so I hope he does that for a while, because it'll teach you to grow, like you said.
Absolutely. What did you play, Kingsley?
Oh, me? I did a little bit of piano when I was super young. My parents had me start on that, but that didn't appeal to me as much. But I was clarinet and sax. I did trumpet a little bit also. But then that didn't
Nice.
appeal to me, so I mostly stayed on clarinet and sax. So clarinet for like classical and marching band stuff, and then sax for jazz. I had a lot of fun with that.
Nice. One of my favorite times as a director was teaching a jazz ensemble. I had one for about 5 years, and it's just a lot of fun that you can, and a lot of off the beaten path music you can play as opposed to your classical literature. You know, in your typical bands, it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, and I could see myself into percussion in a different life too, because now I'm getting on a little side tangent, but like when I was in the marching bands and even the concert bands, and I'd hear our drummers or percussion group, I'm like, come on, guys. It's not hard to keep a beat, you know? Like, I'm a very technical player. I can sight read pretty well. I'm a very technical player. I'm like, I just need to be a percussion player myself. Then I'll actually be able to keep the beat because they can't.
So, for sure.
I just think that's hilarious. Well, thanks for talking to us about music stuff.
No worries.
I mean, computer music stuff too. Have you ever like dabbled in like, I mean, you sounds like you do some kind of audio editing stuff. What have you done with computers? Anything fun there?
Well, I mean, I've done some transcriptions. Like I said, I was a band director for a while, so I've taken some music, some pop culture music, and transferred and transcribed it for a band setting several times. I used to do that. I do a little bit of that with the pet band that I work with as well. As for actual audio creation and generation, I haven't done much more than just spoken word editing, podcast stuff, you know, basically what Sin does. But I have, like, back in the day when Fruity Loops was out and, you know, you could bear share or LimeWire it, I got a copy of it and I had some fun. But at the end of the day, I would rather create the analog form than just the digital form. I feel like I'm more in touch with the instrument that way. That's just how I roll.
Tell us about your podcasting, what you've done with that.
I was going to say, I didn't even know you were in a podcast or had a podcast in the past. So I learned something
sure.
new.
Well, the overall, like I said, I've always been an entertainer, so I like to have little projects, and we've tried a couple along the way. One of them was just four buddies kind of getting together, talking about stuff, kind of leaning towards the gaming industry, but ultimately just laughing at us being idiots. It was called The Riddle in Salt Lake, and basically it was me trying to corral 3 grown children through an hour segment of just talking about stuff. We had games, we had, you know, interaction. We streamed it live, kind of similar to, if you guys are familiar with Just Some Guardians. Elmer Fudd was a big push in us to try to get that going. But yeah, we did that. We had about 20, 25 episodes. And then we just kind of, life, like I said, got in the way and fizzled out. If you've ever been in a band,
we're going to be ending soon.
No, you guys are good. You guys are going strong.
Oh no!
Please don't end. I need material when I run in the morning.
We're at 25.
We're done for. We're done for.
No.
We'll go at least another week.
Please. The thing is it's just hard to get. The more people you have involved, the harder it is to keep a schedule. Harder it is. You guys have 2, and you bring in a guest. That's actually like the perfect. To quote my stepdad, who had a dance band for 30 years, if there's too many feet on stage, it's hard to get everybody paid. And the end of the day, with you guys just having the 2 of you, I'm sure it's way more manageable, and you guys seem to have a good connection. So keep on powering through. You guys are going to be fine.
We try.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
We try.
No worries. So, but I'm also a member of another one called the spawncampcouncil. Basically it's just gaming industry and news. We've got different roles. I'm kind of the streamer guy as well as the Destiny guy. There's a guy on there that does like battle royales and industry stuff. And then just, we kind of bounce around. We are still going. We go about every other Wednesday, Spawn Camp Council, all one word, on Twitch. Got a shout out to those guys, as well as on Twitter. And we just, like I said, a couple friends getting together, talking about video game stuff.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
It's fun doing podcasting. I always wanted to start one, and then I finally got around to doing it. And I think even though there's a lot out there, you could say, but everyone has a different style. Everyone has different things that they talk about. And so in a way, there's even not enough, because someone might be looking for a certain thing and then they don't find it until someone starts it. So my point is, if you're looking to podcast, go for it. You know, you can never know until you try.
Well, and like you said, it's quote unquote saturated. There's a ton, and the barrier for entry is super low. You just need a microphone and a recording device and an internet connection. and it's really easy to get into. But like you said, everybody has different tastes, and how connected we are with the internet. There's plenty of room for everybody. It's just a matter of getting it out there, like you said.
Yeah.
And so the Ritalin one is no longer up, correct? But Spawn Cancel is still going?
Spawn Camp Council, yes.
I got you.
Yeah, Ritalin Salt Lake is something I'd like to get back to, but just a couple of us got super busy, so it's kind of on standby, I hope. I'm hanging on to all the assets and all the graphics and all the recordings. Maybe we'll have a resurgence, because I really like the name. I think it's pretty appropriate for the people that were involved. And ultimately, I would like to get back to it.
Yeah, get the band back together. Have a reunion show.
For sure.
Excellent. Well, let's talk a little bit about Destiny and your history there. I mean, I know you play on PC right now, and I'd love to talk geek out a little bit about PC stuff. But did you do Xbox and PS4? Kind of what was your history with that?
Well,
Destiny?
Like I said earlier, I was trying to be a raid guy for every platform at the time when Destiny 1 launched. So that I did get a PS4. I live in a college town, so my Craigslist is probably way more entertaining than those that don't live in a college town. And I was able to procure a PlayStation 4 fairly cheap, and I did buy it. I had up to the Taken King on the PlayStation 4, but then I just solely went to Xbox after that. I played the beta. I played then I got started right when it came out because I was a big Halo fan, and I heard Bungie was putting it out there. It was kind of a busy time of the year when it came out, because if you know football, high school football in the state of Texas, on Friday nights, it's bigger than God. So most of my
heard that. Yes.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, every town somewhat, but Texas is known for that.
It pays the bills, so I mean, I can't knock it too much. Otherwise, we wouldn't have as much support in the marching band world as we do down here. But ultimately, it gets a little crazy especially on the weekends. But it was, the game launched in the fall of 2014, and that was just a crazy busy time for me as a band director. I couldn't really give it as much time as I wanted to. So I didn't really get into the race for VOG or any of that right off the bat. In fact, my first VOG clear wasn't until like December, just before the Dark Below came out. And so I really wanted to be that streamer and that raider guy, but I just, like I said, life was keeping me busy. But I played all the way up through the highs and the lows, the droughts, that came in before certain expansions and whatnot. The highs of the Taken King and the Rise of Iron was fun. All the raids played through, and then they announced Destiny 2 coming out, and I got it for Xbox. I didn't pick it up for PlayStation 4, and then they announced the PC stuff, and that was when I decided I wanted to build a PC. So I got whatever funds I had together, and I went to PC Part Picker and the Reddit pages and got my recommendations and my lists and sent out my orders, got them all in, built it while the wife and kid were visiting the relatives in Georgia. So I had the house to myself, loaded up D2, and have not looked back since. It is a beautiful game on PC. And like I said earlier before the show, I was watching you and Sin run through some of the D1 raids, and it was an eye-opening experience, ironically, because you had a minimal HUD and a minimal field of view, and it was definitely an experience that was both, hit me in the feels because I missed it, but then realizing that what we have now is really, really good, especially on PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, PC is nice for sure.
Yeah, it is nice for sure. And yeah, I do want to talk about kind of like how that experience was for us. Yeah, there's all sorts of fun stuff to talk about with the rating coming up here. But your PC build, is it kind of current? I'm looking at your Twitch page. Is it pretty current from what you have listed in the specs here?
It's about 2 years old. It's current enough to get me through, and I've designed it in a way where I can just add components later if I need to upgrade. Yeah. I'm not super demanding on it. Like, I'm not doing high-end editing or recording on it. The most strenuous thing that I do would be the streaming part. And even then, with the OBS update a couple months ago, where they took the stress off the CPU and put it back on the video card, it has drastically improved even more what it already was as a streaming and gaming PC. Eventually, I would like to probably get a streaming PC dedicated so I can maybe as the games get more in depth and more challenging, I can just dedicate this one to gaming. But that's a lofty goal in the far future.
It's amazing what you can do with. I think having a good enough processor and then everything solid state, which I see that you have, and then so many people still that I'm a computer tech guy, more on the Apple side than PC, but obviously I built a PC rig, but I know a lot about solid states. I think that's the one mistake that people make is solid states have come down such in price. You should have everything on your solid state these days. It just makes a world of difference. Like everything.
Absolutely. I do have one spinner just to kind of keep like some media
like archive
on.
Stuff is fine.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like anything that's like a program or a game or your OS, everything, that you would use. No, that's cool. Like, so you switched to PC then, right when it came out. Then did you play it for a month on Xbox and then switch over, kind of that awkward thing, or did you wait? Or
yeah, I had a couple friends that were still like, I tend to be right ahead of or right at the trend. So everybody was making a switch to PC, but all of my friends that I played with Xbox weren't quickly moving as quickly as I was. And so I did have to do some LFG, and I did go back and do some console stuff. But one thing that first of all, the PC version is so well optimized that you can have a mid-range PC run Destiny beautifully.
Oh yeah, you really can.
And that's a big plus for them, because they needed, in order to get into that market, that was a very crucial thing for them to do. So that these people that have these middle grade and they don't have to buy these high-end screaming machines in order to play it. And that kind of helped me get some of my friends kind of over. We piecemealed some PCs together. I helped them do a little bit of research, and I'm not a big PC guy. We have a couple guys that are bigger into that stuff, but I helped him. I remember we had one buddy that we actually helped him build his PC. He was streaming from his phone on Twitch, and we were in chat just helping him put it together. It was pretty funny.
Wow.
But a lot of fun stuff just to get that going. But moving into the PC side, I really think the way that they've done it for PC, it really helps with the overall just experience. And you said solid state drives and all that stuff. It works. It works, and I'm glad that they're doing it. I'm curious to see how well this next expansion does with it, though.
Yeah, a lot of space and how well it does. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this PC thing with Destiny has really been a great way of bringing the community together. Even before cross-save came out, having the PC version allowed us to get to know more people in the community, because Sin and I, we were just PS4 people and we didn't know any Xbox guys. And then having PC was kind of a way where sometimes people would move over for PS4 and or Xbox. Like, you start seeing these other names. Like, I forget about when I started seeing your name in the community, but it's been great learning like about all these people that have been around for a while, but maybe just over an Xbox that I didn't know any of them. And now with PC, and now with crossplay even more so, of course. But I feel like PC is kind of like the great equalizer in a way where like it's a middle ground, like a meeting place. And not everyone's going to be able to build a PC. That's fine. And then but we can still do cross save another way. But I just love how this is expanded our community in Destiny and have so many more people to play with. As you know, Sin and I like to raid a lot. You like to raid. I mean, I play on PS4 and PC, and it's great. If I don't have a group on PS4 to play with, I can play on PC. If I don't have a group on PC, I can play on PS4. And I don't mind going back still on PS4 to play raids. That's how much I like to raid and play the game. I'm still one of these people that I think Destiny's fine on PS4, but I understand some people that get a little turned off from it.
Yeah, it is nice to have a lot of places really to play. And I don't think we asked, did you choose your PC as your main with cross save? Did you set that up?
Yeah, I absolutely.
Yeah, because you were already doing it there. Yeah.
In fact, it's funny you mentioned that. When I was going through that process and it showed you like all your characters you have on the different platforms, my Xbox tunes are like level 2 or light level 230 or something. So it's I've left those guys in the dust. And I made it a point to only do mouse and keyboard once I kicked off the PC campaign. So I only made myself go through on mouse and keyboard. And as grueling as it was in the beginning, I highly recommend it. I know that a lot of people still play on a controller, and I don't judge, but I remember one lost sector I got into, and I went in there. I remember I was doing it as a hunter, and literally it was like a John Wick scene or like one of these high action scenes where I went in, it's one dude, a million other people, and I just rinsed the room. I could whip around, I could throw a grenade, I could do the whip around again, 180, do a knife, and it was that mobility. And as soon as that, like the dust settled and that room was clear, I went, whoa, okay, I get it. It makes sense. And I see people play with a controller and like it takes them, 5 seconds to do a 360, and it kind of gets a little slow with some of the movement. But I'm not knocking it, but I do recommend, if you're afraid to try it, please just try it. Have fun with it. Do a lost sector or two.
Yeah, I get it. I'm not afraid to try it. I just don't know if in my older age, the hassle. And also, I'm a little worried, because I'm still going to be playing on PS4 a lot. So I'm almost like, well, if I do controller on both, it's easy to just switch back and forth and not have to be like, oh, wait, what are the buttons again for grenade and everything like that?
The easy way out, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But, I keep saying I might try it.
If I go back to a console, I'm going to be trash. I don't even know what a controller is anymore.
Right? It's like, wait, which one's grenade? Which one's super?
I think super's 2 buttons at the same time, right?
Yeah, right. Oh, that's archaic, right? You have to hit 2 buttons. Oh, but it makes sense. You can only have to hit one on the PC.
I can't macro Titanscape.
I don't know. There's some people that do with like some mouse wheel button stuff. I've never gotten into that though.
You can't do it on console though, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
At least we can. At least we have our better controllers, Sen, right? Astros with extra buttons on the back.
Yeah,
it helps. It helps a bit. Yeah,
fancy.
Oh man, so yeah, playing on PC has been a lot of fun, and I know I've done at least a couple raids with you. I'm trying to remember. I don't know what the first one was or whatever, but
Scourge of the Past.
Scourge of the Past, right on. I feel like I started seeing your name maybe in just some Guardians or Hoot Dog or something like that, but we didn't play until recently, I believe, right? It was a Scourge of the Past.
Yeah,
I think it was.
It was not too long ago. I took a break during the season of the Drifter, just to it was the end of the school year for me with regards to my work schedule with the music store, and it gets kind of crazy, and it didn't have a lot of appeal as the other seasons did, and so I took a little break there, and then right at the end of that, going into where we are now, this current season, I picked it back up, and I think that's right about when I hopped in with you guys. It was just before, all of those, the season of was Opulence now, the getting everything going, and I think it was Elmer Fudd was doing he hadn't done Scourge or something or needed help with it.
Yeah.
And I somehow I come across that. I don't remember exactly. I don't even think I was in your Discord at that time. But we joined up. I think you hopped in our Discord too and helped me when I was Sherpaing a couple people. And so yeah, it's that's what I love about the PvE side of it is there's so many. I mean, I've got friends in Europe and Australia and all over the world, just because we all have this strange affinity for this game. And my first raid crew ever was half British. So can you imagine going against Atheon with that lag? And it was just, it was a lot of fun. It's a great game.
How do you like the raids in D2 compared? Do you still hardcore raid? Do you feel like as much with all the newer raids? I mean, you said you stepped away for a little bit, but do you like them? What do you feel about them?
I did. I like where they're trying to go. I think every time we see a content release with Destiny, it's more like, let's kick this out there and see how, okay, they don't like that. They do like that. And then they kind of tweak it on the next round. And they get aggressive with some of their ideas, and then they kind of have to dial it back. But overall, I like how they've moved forward with the PvE experience. Early D1 PvE was brutal. It was very, very brutal. There was little to no forgiveness with regards to like ammo, and I mean, you could do the synths and stuff, but the way that you can get your rally flags now with the supers, that's like easy cake now. The other thing is, I think the network code involved with the raids is a little bit more stable, because if you remember, like early D1 raids, you had to pray for just a good connection with everybody, not just for good RNG for your drops. The whole debacle of pulling out the internet cable to try to get Crota on his knee and just all that stuff. they seem to have figured that out a lot more.
Yeah.
I will say the drops seem to be way more forgiving now than they ever were in D1. You feel like you get more rewarded. However, that kind of shortens the longevity of raids for some people because they get all their stuff and then they bail. They don't do it anymore. You have to enjoy the cooperative nature of it to keep coming back after you've gotten everything. But I love the encounters. We were talking about King's Fall and how mechanically driven that one was, and I enjoyed that part of it. I thought Crota was too easy. It was more like a strike. So I enjoy the more in-depth, lengthier raids. Scourge of the Past is probably my favorite with regards to the raid layers. But ultimately, I think Last Wish is probably the best raid so far in the current world of Destiny, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with Shadowkeep.
Yeah, it could definitely be one that tops all of them when that comes out. Now, we were talking, you mentioned the longevity of the raids and drops. I've been pretty fortunate in Destiny, as it says, Destiny 2, with a lot of the raid exotics. I don't think I've gotten the new one yet from Crown, but the other ones from last one. I got 1K Voices and Anarchy. Those dropped fairly quick. I've had very good luck with some other content, though, as far as getting it quickly. But I was talking last night when we were in the original Destiny 1 raids that there was a lot of guns that I didn't really get. It's because I did come in late to the game, and I didn't play the content as much. I didn't have Whisper. I don't think I had Black Spindle. And there was quite a few other guns. I didn't have any of the swords, the Dark Drinker and the Raise Lighter. I didn't have those.
See, I thought you did. I'm wondering what you used now in Wrath. Did you just do the sleeper strat?
Yeah, just sleeper.
Okay. Because we were all using our Dark Drinker swords, so you must have been the one lone guy doing
sleeper. Was the only exotic quest that I ended up doing because it came out and I was invested in Wrath of the Machine. That was when I started really raiding, was that raid.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, we've been talking about D1 raids a little bit here on the podcast. That's because Sen and I and some other great members of the community, we had a throwback raid night last night in relation to when we're recording this. And boy, it was a lot of fun. We want to thank everyone that joined up with us. And we did a Crota raid, we did a Vault of Glass, and we did a King's Fall. And oh man, talk about the feels. You know, the graphics aren't as good and everything, but boy, it was fun to go back in. And there was a couple guys that had never done some of the raids, so that's what we were really wanting to go into. And you know, you kind of tell them, yeah, Crota's just like a strike. It's just really easy. And sure enough, they're like, wait, we're already at the end. You know, we would have passed it even quicker, but I think at the end there, Sin, I had to go AFK for a little bit, and we had a couple minor problems with the sword bearer part. But like up until
then,
they
were still fairly easy, though.
Oh yeah, they were still really easy. And Vaulted Glass, we really get through really easy.
The musician in me always loved when you pick up the sword, the music that swells.
Yeah.
Oh God, that was like my ringtone for a while. I found that audio clip and so it was. I remember that. Just like you pick it up and you know, like it is up to you to make this happen. And I just it was one of the best parts of that raid. Too bad it was so short, but it was a great raid.
Oh yeah, and what do you think about the oracles in Vaulted Glass? Isn't there some kind of harmonic keytones to their sounds? You know, did you listen?
Yeah, actually. Go ahead.
Yeah, there was a podcast that who was it? It was called The Secret Hunters of Destiny, and they actually talked about it a little bit about the music theory behind the oracles in Vaulted Glass. So sorry, go ahead and tell me what you were going to say, but.
No, it's good. I remember my raid group relied on me at that time because I could recognize the pitches and tell them where it was in the room. But I'm not perfect pitch, but like I recognize the scale. I'm not going to get nerdy here. It's a certain mode of a scale, and so I recognize that. And once you know where you are and where they are, it's pretty easy. And then of course the sequence, once you learn it, it's the same every time you run it. But the oracles was a neat touch with regards to. And that's what Destiny does really well is they have these really subtle, almost Easter egg kind of things where if you don't pay attention or someone doesn't pick up on it, the world will never know it was there. And I think the songs and how they tie it in with a lot of the lore and the tones and just overall just the whole world that they create. There's so much there. I know that you guys use the vault music from Last Wish, which is freaking epic, especially when you're in the middle of the encounter, and like you hear the guitar kick up and the sweat. Oh my gosh, I could talk about that forever. In fact, it's whenever I feel low on my run, that's when I play that to kick it into overdrive. I play that actual track.
Well, and I'm sure we've heard this on the podcast before, but the very first time I passed that part in the raid, and other people that were with me can tell you too, we passed it with literally 1 second left. And so it was just so epic, and the music's like pumping, and we're like, it's like, oh, they're trying to scare us here. It's like all more dramatic, and like we're running out of time, and then we're like, come on, we're running out of time. 5, 4, and the guy's like, I'm coming. We got it. 1 second left.
Nice.
So it was so fun.
That's so cool.
Those experiences are what you remember, right? When you play these games, it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Oh man, yeah, but we had a lot of fun doing that, right? Sin, and then King's Fall. We ended with that for the night. Boy, 3
raids one night.
I dipped out
definitely intense.
Before, I mean, I guess I passed out because it was kind of late for me. Did you guys complete King's Fall?
Oh yeah, we did. Yep. I mean, we were just doing it on normal, and we had a bunch of people that knew it pretty well. And King's Fall I actually had the least experience with of all the D1 raids, but it was all kind of coming back to me too when they were explaining what to do, and we had a lot of fun. And yeah, we were talking about how like the first 2 raids, Crota and Vaulted Glass, are kind of like, not too many mechanics. There's mechanics, but then like King's Fall at the end, you cannot pass the boss any faster, no matter what. You have to run through the mechanics to kill orcs. You just have to.
Those puddles.
Yeah, you have to wait for the ogres to come out. You got to take them down, and there's nothing you can do to make it go any faster. And there's pluses and minuses to that. I like it. It's like a game. You're piecing it all together. But I can understand sometimes people too. They're like, well, we're going for our, 3rd clear this week on our other character just to see what drops we get. Can we just do this a little faster? But there's
and like Spire of the Stars, I've only have 1 clear on that, and I don't really want to go back into that raid because it takes the final phase takes 4 minutes just to get to a DPS phase. And there's so many times you could potentially, if you don't have a solid team, there's so many times you could lose or one person goes down and just destroys the whole run. And that's one of the most, I think that's overly mechanical in my mind when it comes to an encounter.
Yeah. I agree. That's the one that people kind of have on their list as last place for the most part. Not everyone, but
yeah.
I only have 1 pass on that one. So, did you get drops last night in D1? I got Thunderlord.
No.
It was
hilarious. I didn't get that.
No, which I'm sure I already had.
I did pick up from Zur though the one that looks like a shark.
Oh yeah.
Red Death, not Red Death. It's
Dragon's Breath?
Yes. I did get that from Zur. Because I didn't have it yet. So I was like, hey, I don't think I have this. Hey, I'm gonna get this. Zur's here. And he was at the tower. So I did it.
Is it Dragon's Breath? What's it called?
Well, that was one of them. I think that's the right name for the one Sin's describing, but I don't remember.
Well, I saw, Sin, you were rocking Vision at Confluence, and
yes,
that scout rifle never left my primary spot for when I picked it up from the raid until at least the end of Dark Below's run. I mean, I use that gun forever.
Yeah, it's really been a good gun, and once I got it, same thing. It never left my person, just because I always did well with it, and I don't think I found a scout like that in Destiny 2, honestly, because it really is. It was a good feeling gun overall.
And what was the Hung Jury? Oh, that gun got me through King's Fall. That was a great gun.
And boy, did I miss the Titan bubbles. That was so nice. I didn't have to be a warlock with a well. Anyone who knows me knows that I prefer to be an offensive warlock in the raids. I don't like being the well warlock.
Well, you don't have to worry about that. The Weapons of Light is coming back.
I have a feeling, though, warlocks will still be somewhat needed. I mean, as it is in Crown of Sorrow, you usually want 2 or 3 just to be safe. But maybe we'll get to a point where the raids will get easier. And
we depend on you warlocks too damn much.
I know, right? I just want to do my warlock thing in the corner and floof around and throw my Nova bombs.
So what's everybody's main?
Yes, go ahead and tell us yours first, please.
I always started off on a warlock. I love my space magic.
And do you have a preferred subclass? Or do you
I like being the medic. I like being the healer. So I have no problem. I have no qualm being the what do you call it, Sin? The puddle pad or the
pea puddle? The pea puddle.
Yeah. I don't mind doing that. So, but I'm all for the cooperative nature. Kingsley just likes to be a show off. I get it.
I will be cooperative.
He'll check when we go into Reckoning, and he's like, "What is everybody else running?" He's like, "Oh crap! There's no other warlocks. I got to run well."
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man. Well, yes. So that answers the question. Warlock for me, and Sin. Anyone who knows Sin, you are a crayon eater, right?
Titan main all the way. Peregrine Greaves. Although I really haven't used those much. I've been running One-Eyed Mask, Bygones.
Yeah, you have.
And today, Jotun. Yes, I went straight dad loadout today in comp.
But didn't you also acquire a new weapon today?
Oh, I got a thing today. I got Recluse today.
Ooh la la.
I hit 2100 glory exactly. And now I had some rage-inducing moments, though. I need to tell you that there was a team I was solo queuing the entire time, and I came across a team, and somehow I queued in with, I guess they were both parties. My team and the other team were on the same squad, or they were doing something. I was going in like I was killing. There was one guy that turned around and looked at me and was just standing there. So I figured it was like, something might be up with this. And then when I died, they all were sitting on the point. The other team it was countdown. So they spawned the bomb and it was going to detonate. The other team was standing on point. My team rolled up, sat there, and stared right at them. They didn't move. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
They were throwing?
They were throwing the game. I was at 1900, and I was like 1966 at that point. So I ended up losing that match. But why? Why would they? I don't understand how they could allow that. But I guess it is possible. Yeah. How can you allow this, Bungo?
That's rough. Sorry, bud. Well, congratulations. You solo queued the whole way there?
No, I was at today going in. My wife was at a bridal shower for her sister, so she took all the kids. So I had a little bit of time. I did some stuff around the house, did some laundry, did some, husbandly duties around the house. And I decided I was finally going to play. So I solo queued. I went from 1460, just under 1500, I think it was, to 2100. And I actually went on a couple streaks, which helped me get there. Because if you win one, lose one, you're not getting there very quickly. It takes forever. But I solo queued today for about, 700, almost 700 glory.
That's impressive, man.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. I keep having aspirations to do it too. I don't know if I ever will.
I do want to try it. I tried it a little bit before jumping onto the podcast tonight, but I do want to try it really in the raid and see how that goes, because there's a lot of people that use it and love it. And I've heard a lot of people love it, say, I'm going to pick it up and I'm never going to put it down. But it was exciting for sure. I don't know how much I'm going to get back into comp after that. We'll see. If I need another, maybe for Mountaintop, I guess. Unless I don't need to go into comp for Mountaintop, then I won't go into comp.
What perk or what mod are you going to put on it, Sin?
I can put a mod in it?
Yes, sir.
It's legendary.
Then I don't know. I didn't really think about it.
Well, do you know
what's the meta?
Yeah, what's the?
I think it determines how you play with it. I mean, like if you're a big PvP person, some people put what's the extra mag clip where you get more bullets. You only get like 3 or 4 more bullets, but yeah, extended mag. I forget what it's called exactly, but
yeah, what it is for the mod. Yeah.
it'll give you like 3 or 4 bullets. But I have been in several circumstances with that gun where I could have used 3 or 4 bullets. A lot. I've been in a lot of circumstances. And so I put in major spec, so I can chew through yellow bars when the thing is procced, Master at Arms. It just rinses yellow bars, which is really, really clutch, especially like in Crown of Sorrow when you're going up against like those yellow bars, going into some of those encounters. It just chews through them. I love it. It's a great PvE gun. I'm surprised it had to be acquired in a PvP content.
Yeah, that happens sometimes, right? It's kind of like, or even vice versa. It can happen where not as much, but you can, well, like Truth, you know.
Yep.
So yeah, it can happen the other way too. Too much Truth right now, by the way. And I got,
especially in Gambit.
Hey, you know, I need to do a Crucible Pinnacle weapon, but my fun triumph for the week is I finally got my 50th tribute, so I am 100% done with the tribute haul. And
nice, congrats on that.
Guess what my last one was that I was dreading finishing? Gambit. Yeah. But I finally got it done. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but I'm kind of like thinking now, like, okay, I mean, anyone knows me, I don't love Crucible, but I would rather go and comp anything than Gambit right now. Like,
yeah, it's rough.
I'm kind of done with Gambit, and I kind of feel like, so I have everything I need. Okay, the only thing I don't have that maybe I'll do when Triple Infamy or whatever is, I have everything for Dredgen, but I just need to get the last reset, so maybe I'll do that too, just so I'll get the title. But I just don't want to play more Gambit, and come next season, I feel like even more so, it might be kind of pushed to the side, because it seems like they kind of want to just have more like up-to-date things drop the powerful rewards, you know, not a million other old things.
Which will be good, instead of having to go back to Gambit all the time.
I already kind of was doing that this latest season, Shadowkeep. There were so many ways to do it. Like, I don't need to do Gambit. I don't need to do this or that, because there's a million other ways, and I still leveled up very quickly. So it worked. It worked for me.
I'd said I skipped over the Season of the Drifter, so I had all of that to make up for all that Reckoning and all those and all the pinnacle weapons there. I will say I am equally tired of Gambit. It just doesn't. When it first came out, like I think when you could do the playtest of it was last year around this time. It was a lot of fun, but the honeymoon stage and that wore off real quickly, and it did not turn out to be an event or a piece of content that lasted well with me. So I was going for Hush and going for Delirium. It was a drag, a major drag. And then all the Reckoning stuff for that part of the milestones, whatever it is, the solstice, not the solstice. What are we in right now with the Roman numeral?
Yeah,
thing?
The title, the Moments of Triumph title. Yeah.
Moments of Triumph. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So going for that. So it was rough. I share your pain.
And I'm still a big proponent of regular Gambit over Gambit Prime, just because I kind of like how now that you have, I wouldn't like regular Gambit if they didn't change that third round, but I almost prefer it to go 1-1, and then on the third round, because the third round's so short anyways, all you have to do is just kill the boss. And I think that's fun. That's like actually something different. You go in there and it's just a big fight to who can kill the boss first, and the adrenaline pumps up and everything. But Gambit Prime is just so annoying. You get to the primeval phase and just goes back and forth and invading every 2 seconds. It's just, to me, I don't like that. It seems kind of pointless, you know?
Yep.
Just my opinion. All right. What else? I guess we can talk about a couple quick news things, but we don't have to go into it too much, because there was a lot that was talked about. I just kind of wanted to talk about a couple of things I'm really looking forward to coming up with Shadowkeep. I mean, one thing is we know for sure we're getting 2 new strikes. 3 would have been great, but I'm not complaining. 2 will be good.
More PvP maps. 2 more
PvP
right?
maps. Mm-hmm.
And they were actually, from what I heard...
Well, 2 returning PvP maps.
2 returning.
Mm-hmm.
Which will be nice.
We don't know. There might be more PvP news, too, coming up, but they're going to have that stream later on that tells us about PvP.
Yeah, hopefully it'll get a little bit more of an update. There's some tweaks that they can make to it. I wouldn't completely knock it. I mean, it's got its ups and downs. It's got its quirks about it, just like everything else. But, you know, as with my progress earlier, because this was the only season I've really played comp, in a short period of time, I was able to get through my comp. It really didn't take as long as I thought it was going to. Yes, I did have to spend a lot of nights into it, and a lot of nights that weren't as fruitful as I had today. But, I think overall the game's in a great state. But I think a little more variety with the maps, because I've seen a lot of maps on repeat recently that just doesn't make it a whole lot of variety, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true. Although it helps for someone like me finally get to learn some of these maps. Map awareness definitely helps when you don't play Crucible much, and then you can finally start to learn the map so you know where to hide.
True that.
The safe places to poke out. I'm also really looking forward to the seasonal artifacts that are coming up. We know a little bit more about this first one. I think it's a really cool idea how they're doing these seasons where they give you additional ways to add on to your power level. We know our weapons and armor only technically will go up to 950 or 960 with the end game stuff. But with this seasonal artifact, we can have an additional power level that builds onto our overall account. It applies to all characters, and then go up way past that. But then it goes away at the end of the season. So it's like you're really not going to ruin the whole system, if that makes sense. It's kind of just a seasonal thing, and then it kind of like resets, if you can call it that, in the next season. But then we're also all starting at 750 with all our weapons, all our armor will be 750 out of the gate on opening day. That's like amazing. When I told that to my wife, or some people that don't play as often, she used to play a lot, but then she's always like, oh, there's all the stuff you have to do. And even with these catch-up mechanics, they've gotten better. But now, I told her with Shadowkeep, everything will be leveled up as much as it can be, out of the gate. And so I think that'll be good.
I'm really interested in these perks that you can get from the artifact, the seasonal artifact. And with those perks, I'm curious if twofold. Number one, just to design perks for every season at that quantity would seem like a very daunting task to a developer, in my opinion, because it looks like there's 25 or 30 perks from what I could tell. And, we complain about how a lot of the perks we have on weapons are only limited. There's only about, a handful, 6 or 7 that are just really good that everybody seeks. And then there's always those trash ones that everybody hates. So I'm really curious to see how that's going to translate, and if they're going to be substantial perks, or they're just going to be like, little things that we just kind of dismiss. Are they going to be worthy of what we're doing, or are we just going to kind of default to the ones that we already know? There's always a lot of that speculation and just overall unknowing going into that. And then the other side of it is if they are really good, if they are perks that we like, will they allow us to keep them, or do those perks disappear with that artifact?
It seems like they're going to go away. Now, some, I would imagine, might come back in the next artifact, although I don't know how they could know in enough time to build in the ones that people are enjoying. Maybe the way the code is written, they can do it. They'll know a month in, and maybe they can build some of those in. But that's a good question. But I was going to say, let's assume they do go away or whatever. This is really interesting what they're doing with these seasons now. We have to assume at least some of this goes away with the artifact, but we also know there's these seasonal activities that will be going away. So we're getting the Vex Offensive for this first seasonal activity. And this is such a unique thing where you could see it as maybe bad. You can see it as good too. It's kind of like there's these things that you had the opportunity to do them then, and there'll be something new, totally new the next season. And to me, in a way, I see it as a way. For me, being a hardcore player, it's exciting. I could see maybe why some people are like, well, I don't know if I'm going to have a lot of time to play, and I don't want to miss out on that. But other games do it, and I know Diablo does stuff like that with little seasonal events and other games. So as long as it's not a huge portion of all the activities out there, I think it's a plus. I think it's something exciting we can look forward to, like just changing up the guard in a way.
I wonder what kind of scale it's going to be on. Is it going to be as big as, say, what Menagerie is? Or is it going to be smaller, not as small as what the EAZ was with the Solstice stuff, but just kind of in the middle? I'm really curious because they make it sound like it's going to be an event that you can get high-end game gear from, which makes it sound like more like a Menagerie type event. But if it's only going to be there for, the span of one season, how much time and energy are they going to put into that content just for it to go away a handful of weeks later?
Yeah, that's a good point too. Well, at least we know armor is coming from, Armor 2.0 and different sources. We have the new raid, which should be pretty exciting. Who knows how big it'll be, but I imagine it will be bigger than the layers we'll get. I can't necessarily say I'm confident or I hope that it'll be a large one like Last Wish, but I was reading something today that they're expecting it to be a large raid. So that's awesome. Hopefully. Hopefully, right?
We're due for one. We've got to have one.
Hopefully
I like
it's a little bit bigger.
Absolutely. That's what she said. The raid layers are nice, and they're like really good digestible size parts of it, and it really plays nicely to those that can't spend the 4 hours it takes to get through a big raid. But my rating bone is ready. I'm ready.
Now, do you think though there's a chance we might get any other smaller raids throughout the year? I hope we get at least one other, maybe two. That'd be asking maybe too much, but if we only get the one for the year, and I guess it was like that in Rise of Iron, but I don't know. What do you think? Do you think there's a chance we can get another one?
I think the developmental cycle is really what determines whether or not we get sizable content. And to be honest, we could talk till we're blue in the face here. We are going into uncharted waters since the divorce of Activision and what's coming down the line. We're, all eyes are on Bungie to see what they're able to do with the resources they have. I think the recent move to the season pass content is smart because it creates a revenue stream where there is an absence of one now with Activision no longer there. So I hope that works out well, but they have to do it right. If they don't set the levels on it, how much it costs to get in, how much it costs to get this, these different parameters, it could really backfire and put Bungie, in my opinion, behind the 8 ball. So I'm really curious to see how that works. I would like to have bigger raids with each season, but I know that's not physically possible. That's too demanding on the development cycle. That's too demanding on the crew. I like the idea of Leviathan and then these little subsects of the Leviathan to be these raid layers. I could see maybe if they go with this Vex theme, you could go through a portal and there's a raid layer, or there's a raid layer there. I could see them doing that. But ultimately, I think this will be the big one, and we probably won't see another big one for a year, maybe a year and a half.
When you talk about if something doesn't go right, I think the one area where they could, quote, have the most problems with, although Luke Smith also said in his article that they're just going to be kind of testing it and they can change it up at the next season. But they're going to have this opportunity for a catch-up mechanic on the ranks that you can grind. And they say they're playing with the idea, if you don't have them all done by the end of the season, you will be able to buy out the rest. And depending on the price, depending on how many people get to the end easily or not, that could be something that people will complain about. There will always be something, but I don't know. Now that I'm saying it out loud, obviously it's not a big deal to me, but I think all in all, they could have a pretty good revenue stream here with the different things they're doing, but keep people happy. $60 for the whole year if you buy it up front for a year's worth of content. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's a really that's a smart price point. But then again, we can say that just by looking from the outside in. We don't know exactly what, how long of a grind this 100 levels is going to be. I'm fairly certain with as hard as I play the game, it's not going to be an issue for me, so I don't need to pay up front for it. But I mean, there are people out there that have less time to game and they may need a little boost, like you said. And then again, there's another question. Is that going to be prorated or will they have to pay the full price? This catch up mechanic, there's a lot of unknown that we just have to hope Bungie makes the right decision, because they won't divulge because they don't want to spoil as much stuff. But if they were to tell us, they might have a chance to fix it. It's a gamble, it really is. And I'm curious how they're going to do it. I hope they do it well, because I really love the game. I really love the franchise. I love the developer. I mean, Bungie has, especially since the divorce of Activision, has been so transparent and so upfront and so honest, in my opinion, with the player base, that they're doing everything right, in my opinion, as they go into this new chapter of Destiny. And I want them to succeed. I want it to go well.
Of course. The amount of information, like you said, they've given us is just amazing. It blows your mind and like how much communication they're giving us. If you remember,
even that first stream when they came back, everybody was happy. There were smiles. The atmosphere was totally different. It was so good to see. I remember watching that, and I was in Discord chat with a buddy, and I was like, dude, this is like the shackles have come off. The rain clouds have disappeared. This is a different developer. They're happier about their game. They're more exuberant, just in like watching a guy walk across in the background. I was like, dude, this just looks like a totally different.
They're happy.
Yeah.
The tone is definitely different for sure.
I hope it works.
Yeah. I think it will. I think it's headed in the right direction for sure. And they've been super transparent, like we said, overwhelming with how much they've given us, actually, with so much going on in just a short span. 3 developer from Luke Smith, a 3 plus the 4th that we had this week. Yeah, it's amazing. One thing we haven't talked about, we've been talking about a lot about how the season has gone and what we're looking forward to and how they're going to do it. Did we say about the PSA with where to buy the season pass?
Yeah, I think that's some pretty cool news. And
actually, there's even
some more clarification on that too. So it can be very confusing, but first of all, let's just try to make this really simple. If you buy Shadowkeep, you will get the first season included in that, which is Season of the Undying. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You have to. You will just get the first season. Think of that as a bonus, whatever, okay? Shadowkeep is the quote DLC, the new content, the moon, all that jazz, the raid, and you will get that first season also. But you have to purchase Shadowkeep on every platform you want to play on if you want to play Shadowkeep stuff, i.e. the new moon activities, raid, all that. So if you're like Sin and I, we play on PS4 and PC, we need to buy Shadowkeep on PS4 and PC. Now there's other options. We can also buy the whole deluxe expansion that they call it, which is Shadowkeep plus the full year of all the seasons. Call it an annual pass, call it whatever you want, but it's the deluxe edition of all the stuff. That's the $60 purchase. If you purchase that, just purchase it on your main account.
The one that's used for cross save.
Yeah. So now, there's a couple of clarifications I heard too, but people probably won't do this third thing as much. But let's just focus on the second one yet. But this example, yeah, just buy it on your main. It'll be the easiest doing it that way. Buy the deluxe there, but then on, let's say PC's not your main, you still have to buy Shadowkeep. Just don't buy the deluxe edition because Bungie has announced that the seasons will come over on all platforms. You don't have to buy them again, which is pretty cool. So we finally know that news. Now,
if that works as intended, that's huge.
They've confirmed. Deej confirmed it, and also, I mean, yeah, hopefully there's no hiccups or anything. And then marketing also confirmed. Bungie marketing confirmed that to Paul Tassi also. So it definitely sounds like it's a go. The last thing, which hopefully I'm not confusing anyone here, but let's just say you buy Shadowkeep and you don't buy any deluxe edition, so you just want to try it out. You buy Shadowkeep. You can, again, you'll get the first season no matter what because Shadowkeep comes with that. But then let's say come the next season, you're like, okay, I'm just going to drop down the $10 to buy a season. You can buy that season anywhere because in essence, we made our PS4 our main sin. Well, even when we're on PC, if we buy it there, you buy it through Silver. You don't buy it through the platform. So you buy that season and it'll work anywhere. So that's maybe less people will do that. I feel like the way to go is just buy the deluxe edition on your main and you're good for the whole year. But if for some reason you don't buy the deluxe edition, you can feel confident that you can buy each individual season and you'll need to buy it once and you can buy it anywhere because it'll be through the Silver store and it'll work anywhere. So pretty cool news. And I read through all that 3 times with Paul Tassi has an article that's up confirming all the latest. He's like, I'm 100% sure this is what Bungie marketing told me. This is the way it is. So
this is a very interesting position. Like, I don't know if there's ever been a game franchise that's done this where they transferred from one platform, quote unquote, or launch platform with regards to like BattleNet now to another one and all of the existing content and purchases traveling with you. It's kind of an interesting thing to watch. How they go through this. I'm really curious, and I hope it goes well, because I mean, anytime you mess with this and other people's licenses and content access, it can get nasty real quick.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that anywhere else, at least.
It's even amazing the transfer from Battle.net to Steam too. It's like, I wonder what Battle.net thought about all that, and how it works with Steam and everything. But we know they're making it work. So
sure, well, I hope it goes well. I want it to be successful.
Too. Well, any other Destiny news tonight, Sin, before we move on to the bonus question area?
I don't think so. I think we covered the main topics, at least. We covered our D1 raids. We covered the cross save, where to buy the next part of the seasons. We touched a lot.
Yes. There's a lot of news coming out all the time. So, I'm sure there's things that we didn't talk about, but on this podcast we talk about the news when it's interesting to us, but we really like focusing on the community too. Well, now we've had Mr. PoopShizzle, we've had previous guests on where we like to plan different podcasts, future podcasts that we'll have with them. How do you feel about having a quarterly? Go ahead, Sin. Yeah, I
was going to say, it sounded to me earlier and I was going to pipe up, but you guys were mid-conversation. I didn't want to ruin the moment because it was sounding quite harmonious. That it sounded like we were going to start a musical podcast of sorts because of that conversation, how that was going.
How about we can go different ways with this, but I have one idea, and you can tell me how you want to morph this. But we could have a quarterly podcast where we talk about the music in Destiny. Mm-hmm. You
know what? You're going to make me cry, because I definitely would love that. Ultimately,
I thought you were going to be like, I hate that idea.
No, not at all. Well, to be honest, I'm a little frustrated with Gamerscore Radio because they started off doing soundtracks, and then now they just kind of morphed into more of a just a chatterbox. I mean, they touch on music, but that is, if there is ever a podcast content that I'd want to do, it would be score in gaming and score in like movies and soundtrack, just basically score behind media. And there's been a couple, but I don't want to do it solo. I feel like I do better bouncing off people. I would absolutely love that, because with my musical background and my knowledge of the inner workings of music from a theory level, I love to inject that into it. But my number one passion with music is how other people interpret it and feel it, because it's different every single time someone hears it. Even the same person that hear it, again, it's different each time. So I have a huge passion about how people react to the music of the things they really enjoy. And I'm a strong proponent for video games being an art form, and music is just another layer of that amazing cake. So I would absolutely love that.
Very true. Okay, Sin, put it on the calendar. We can fit that in, right?
Well, I have a question for Sin. Are you a musician?
Well, not on that level. The extent of my musicianship was I played bass in high school for kind of like a rock or punk band, but I don't know how to read music. I did it off of the tabs. So they basically tell you where to place your fingers. And I did that for a little while, had a little fun with it, but that's the extent of it. I like listening to music. I like all kinds of music, really. Somebody in one of the other podcasts that do the Spotify playlists, they actually had a band that they pulled up that I haven't listened to in a long while.
Shout out to Guardian Down podcast.
Was it them? The 10 years one?
I believe so. Sorry if you're thinking about something else, but they do a lot with the...
it was either that or Potato Thumbs. Somebody mentioned 10 years, and I was like, damn, I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, music's good. You're very right on that. And I'm excited. I saw in one of the Vidocs, they showed once again the director in the studio. Looks like they're getting the music ready for Shadowkeep. So we'll have a new soundtrack, which will be pretty cool.
Destiny's always been on point with their music. I really can't imagine an expansion that didn't just encapsulate what they were trying to get across visually with their music.
All right. Well, we will We have all intentions on doing on these podcasts. So if you don't hear from us, just bug us.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind helping with it to a point, and then I don't mind it going on the feed as much. It's like if I have to edit like 2 or 3 hours worth of podcast time all at once, I would probably not edit it. It would just go up as is, and I'd be like, "This is what
For
you're
shame."
I'm not editing pauses. I'm not doing that. You're getting it raw. It's going in raw.
Sin, I think you would have I think your experience with it would be drastically different than what you think in your head, because coming into it from just a pure raw experiencing it just without any background or extensive background in music may actually bring a totally different perspective to it. And the listeners out there that aren't as musically inclined would probably relate well with you. And then what I could do is just explain why what it sounds does and makes you feel the way that it does. There you go.
Am I getting sold on the next podcast venture right now?
We just really want you to edit it. So yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's why Kingsley had me come on here.
The only reason why? No.
It wasn't for my good looks. I know that.
Well, neither of us. I mean, we don't have to worry about that because we're just an audio podcast right now.
You're right.
Oh, man.
I'll tell you what, Sin. I'll edit it. You can just throw it all on me, buddy. I got you back.
Ooh, wow.
I'll take that one.
Hold you to that. Wow, that's offering too much. No, but it'd be fun. Yeah, we always love throwing around ideas. But seriously, like I joke about these podcast ideas in a way, but I'm also serious too. So I'm fairly flexible with my schedule, so we can see if we can make it work.
I got a sugar mama. I got time out my butt. Let's do this.
There you go. Yep.
Wednesday nights.
We can do that.
Wednesdays. Yeah.
I'm off on Wednesdays. Most Wednesdays, unless it's the last day of the month.
Oh yeah. That time of the month, huh, Sin?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not. I don't have the sugar mama on my end, and my line of work is quite brutal. So I drive a lot. I work a lot. I sleep a lot less.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, we want to ask real quick, too. We like to ask our guests, what is your favorite dessert? Or you can name a couple if you want.
I listen to your cast every morning when I go running. So I have prepared myself for this. Just for you guys to know, I'm hot and sweaty when I listen to
we could have changed it. We should have done that now.
No, but the answer to that is you just can't beat a great homemade cherry pie. Well, just throw some ice cream or some whipped cream. Just if it's warm. I have some fond memories. I've got some aunts that are just incredible baking skills, and they make some cherry pie that just I could eat the whole thing in one sitting. So it's kind
like
of
a homemade crust, right, and all that.
Oh God, it's so good.
Oh,
it's so good. So I mean, I love cake. I love ice cream. I love your stuff you can go out and buy at the store, but nothing beats a homemade cherry pie.
I will take that answer and accept it with 1,000%.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Excellent. Well, let's quickly go through our housekeeping section, Sin, because we do have one new review on our podcast feed on iTunes. So let me pull this up here.
Throw it on me, King Daddy. Throw it on me.
King Daddy. Where did that come from?
Hey, I told you. I'm going to try to spice it up every week and give you a little something different.
Do you guys need me to step out for a minute? You guys have the room?
No, you can watch.
I can hold a camera real still, I promise.
This podcast review is from Freddie Go Boom. Hey, Freddie, we know Discord. He is one of our ambassadors on the Xbox side. He wrote, I love this podcast's unique approach to celebrating the Destiny community and their dedication to highlighting community members. I've found several new Destiny content creators that are making really cool things. By far, the best part of the Guardian Hub is the Discord channel. It's really great and growing community of Destiny players. I re-downloaded the Apple Podcast app just to leave this review, so trust me, it's worth a listen. Hey, thanks, Freddie Go Boom, so much. We really appreciate that.
Dude, that's awesome. He actually went out of his way to do that.
Yeah, I know. It sounds like that. Thank you so much. I know, because you can leave reviews almost any platform, but it's like the Apple Podcast app that really make the difference. So as always, if anyone wants to leave us a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, which it's now called, we we really appreciate that because it helps us get found. So if you do that, we will read you on the air. I think we already announced all our other stuff. Everyone kind of knows we have the Discord. If you haven't joined our Discord, we highly recommend it because, like Freddie said, and like I'll confirm that, it really is a good place to find people to play with. I remember when I joined my first Discord after I started the game about a month or two in, I was like, okay, this is where you find people to raid with. This is how you find cool people to play with, not LFGs. And don't just join our Discord. There's a lot of other good Discords too, but please join ours also. So it really helps.
Join the Discord and visit www.theguardianhub.com. And you can also visit www.destinypodcasts.com
to find a hopefully complete list of all Destiny-based podcasts that are out there. If you know any that aren't on the list, please let me know, and we will add that. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. PoopShizzle, for being on the podcast tonight. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, guys, it's been humbling and I'm honored. Thank you very much. I'm kind of a newbie with regards to your community, which is fantastic. You guys are knocking it out of the park. I think in the time that I've been there, I've seen your population almost double, and you guys are on the right track. Thank you very much for letting me come out. I had a great time.
Yeah, definitely appreciate
it. We know you kind of told some of your things earlier on, but please tell the lovely listeners, if you would so like to do that, of any of your handles where people can find you.
Sure. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter, both at the extension PoopShizzle. Special shout out to my Discord crew over at Six Dudes Rocking Out, and just keep on keeping on, guys.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. So everyone, please follow Mr. PoopShizzle there on all those places. Sin, where can people find you?
You can find me on twitch.tv/SynMedia, that is Sin, CYN, and on Twitter at Sin_media. Kingsley, let's go.
Let's go. You can find me as Kingsley Mac on PlayStation or on Twitch. And you can find me as MC Kingsley on Twitter. Our website for the show is theguardianhub.com. And you can also find us on Twitter as The Guardian Hub. Well, thank you, lovely listeners, again for listening to us, episode 25. Thank you very much, and have a good week. Good night.
Bye.
Later.
Later, dude.
She's my cherry pie.
Yeah.
I was so thinking
that song earlier too. I forget, but yeah, that was good.
You usually try to go out on a song, Sin. You might as well have just kicked it off.
I know. I know. I was totally thinking that. There was another one too. It was like right after that.
Never gonna do. It was something you were saying. I was thinking of that song. I forget the words. Never gonna pick you up. Never gonna let you down.
The Rickroll?
Like yeah. Why don't I know the words?
Never gonna give you up. Never gonna
give
let
you up. Down. Yeah. Never gonna let you down.
Never gonna turn around, desert you.
Something like sing that. It, Sin.
Damn, he's good. Do I have to pay for this show?